What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know we about to get it in. Tas, tas, tas. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. And before we even do that, let's watch this intro. Welcome back to the collective clips. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I highly appreciate it, right? So Valeria Marquez, right? We've heard a lot about her the last few days. Her popularity has soared in the United States. She was already very popular in Mexico, influencer, TikToker, had her own beauty shop, was very, very, very influential, around her area. She was gunned down allegedly, right? Allegedly in her own beauty shop. We've all seen the videos. The video was sent to me of the actual event occurring in all its uncutness, right? So I seen everything. And I was pretty shocked, man. First of all, beautiful woman. And it's a crazy world we live in that this type of stuff happens, right? Now, whatever she was into, allegedly, was her business, right? And sometimes the things that you're into off camera are definitely going to affect you while on camera. Now, this is a perfect example of not letting people know your whereabouts, keeping your circle very tight, understanding that those that are around you are probably going to be the ones that are the cause of your demise. Now, I understand what you say, what you do is actually the real cause, but they're the effect, okay? There's a lot of speculation, a lot of stories going around. There's even a story that this whole thing was a hoax, that she was trying to get away from a past relationship from some very bad individuals, or what she considered bad individuals. So she staged this whole event to disappear. That won't last too long, and I don't believe that. I don't believe this was a hoax. I believe this was exactly what it was. A woman, unfortunately, unalived while TikToking, right on TikTok. There's a lot of stories going around. And I was very, very, when I heard this story and I heard some of the things behind it, I was very skeptical in doing this content. Reason being is, I've told you guys a long time ago, I don't speak on any issues that deal with cartel. Okay. Now, whether they were involved in this or not, I have no idea. And if I did, I wouldn't be doing this video 100%. That's a fact. And the reason is, man, I respect their privacy. Do I respect what they do? Not at all times, but I respect their privacy. I'm not going to be the one on the internet talking shit, disrespecting, or getting involved in their business, because it's safer that way for me as well as my family. But with Valeria, I felt I should do something in remembrance of her, Beautiful woman. Nobody has getting shot 3 times coming, especially twice in the head, once in the chest. And I remember seeing the video. I had to rewatch it. I've probably watched it 100 times. And I noticed different things, and I don't know if you caught it. The first shot. Now, for those of you that haven't heard about this story, and it's crazy because everyone pretty much does. I've been asked to do this video several times, right? That's why I'm doing it on the smaller channel. I figured, hey, whoever watches this, watches this. Whoever doesn't catch it, doesn't catch it, man. But seriously, when I watched this video, the first thing I noticed was, she definitely did not know the gunman. She did not know the person who came in, because if she did, and that leads to a lot of the theories, discrediting a lot of the myths and the theories in this case, right? Everybody wants to be a detective. Everybody wants to be Inspector Gadget, but no one knows how to handle a gadget. It's just the truth, right? When that person came in there, you could distinctly hear her say, "Ya vende," meaning they're here. He's here, right? She was waiting on a package. And I guess being the influencer she is, guys are sprung, guys are hooked. A lot of people sent her packages. A lot of people were looking out for her. So she was used to, this was a normal occurrence in her day, getting packages, prior to her getting shot, maybe 20, 30 minutes prior, she received a package, which was a stuffed pig. Now, that obviously could have been sent to her, as a whoever's holding this pig, this is the target. Now, again, who would have known she would have held it? She could have got it. Oh, cool. And set it to the side. Handed it to her friend who was obviously in the shop, right? And whose name's going to come up more and more. But she was holding this pig. Guy walks in. She sees him. She doesn't look confused. She doesn't look scared. She doesn't look rattled. She looks like it was a normal everyday thing. He identified her. Are you Valeria? He said, Valeria. She said, yes. And then next thing you know, we see her being shot once in what it looks like the stomach or the breast area, and then twice to the head. Now, there was a lot of people. Well, there wasn't a lot of blood, man. It couldn't have been. It has to be staged. It has to be a hoax because I've been around shootings and I've been around shootings myself. Actual factual ones, right? And yes, depending upon the caliber of the weapon, there is a lot of blood. But if it's a 22 caliber or something small like that, you're not going to have as much blood splatter. You're not going to have as much what it looks like mayhem, right? You're not going to have that. So my reasoning is it probably was a smaller caliber weapon, obviously, and that put in the work right there. I know a 22 is probably the worst weapon to get hit with because the bullet bounces around in you, man. I lost an uncle to a 22, right? I'll say this. People want to say it's a hoax because they want to truly believe, just like they want to believe Tupac and they want to believe Elvis and they want to believe fucking, their ex-old lady that they're still alive. The fact is Valeria's already had a funeral. She's gone. Her family members have mourned and they're continuing to mourn. Now, what happened? There was a story that her ex-boyfriend, was disgruntled with the breakup, was feeling some type of way, and that he did this. Well, obviously he didn't. If you watch the video, it was not her ex-boyfriend, and I'm going to explain to you why. Not to say he wasn't involved, but I'm going to explain to you why he did not do this. First of all, when the man walked in, the actual hitter, the shooter, he had to identify her. If it would have been her ex-boyfriend, she would have knew right off the top. She knew him. There was no reason he would have to say her name. He would have just been straight up like, what's cracking, right? So obviously he's out the way. Now, as far as him, having someone do it, I don't know. None of my business. The authorities will figure it out when they figure it out. Now, there's a big story going around that her two friends were involved. There's actually text messages that were released where one of her friends, the one who was not in there, in the beauty shop when this happened, texting the other one saying, and I don't know if these texts are AI, they're made up. People are just doing it to continue this story. But from what I've seen, she's telling her, hey, basically keep her there. They're going to be coming. And then the other girl was scared. The girl that was in the beauty shop with Valeria, her homegirl, right? And she's saying, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to get hurt. And she was like, don't worry. They're not coming for you. Just stay away from her. Just keep her there. Now, if you watch the full TikTok video in its entirety, which I have, right? I've watched bits and pieces and the full video. I've seen where it did seem like her friend was trying to keep her there. It did seem like her friend was, every time Valeria seemed to be anxious to get away or just leave, right? She was ready to go. Her friend kept telling her, no, you have to wait. There's a package coming. And it's a pretty expensive package. Basically, you have to sign for it. You have to be here to receive it. Now, why would her friend know that and she wouldn't? Is a question that I ask myself. How did her friend know that she had an expensive package coming, but Valeria didn't know? What communication behind the scenes was her friend in? Was her friend her manager, a woman that, was privy to her Instagram or her TikTok to text people and find out that something was coming? How would she know, but Valeria wouldn't know, right? Again, why was she so solid on keeping her there? Now, a lot of people are saying it was jealousy. It was disrespect. It was Mean Girls Club. It was a lot of different things that could have led to her demise. Ultimately, Mexico's different. Mexico's different. We probably might not never know. And maybe nobody will be charged in this case. Now, it's gaining a lot of popularity in the States. That doesn't mean the United States has anything to do with encouraging or investigating this situation. But we got a lot of people, a lot of self-proclaimed investigators on YouTube and on TikTok, and everyone has their own information. They're going to keep this story going. And it's crazy. And look, I get a lot of backlash on the videos that I do because I keep it fucking real. Here's the thing. First and foremost, if she wasn't as beautiful as she would we even care? You know, I care about everybody. But let's be honest here. If she wasn't a beautiful influencer, if she didn't steal the hearts of everyone, if she didn't look the way she looked, would anyone even care? It would have been another story of, wow, she got bopped while on TikTok on a live stream. That's unfortunate. And everyone would have kept it pushing. But because of the way she looked, because of the situation, everybody's on it. Everybody wants to figure out who did it. The fact is, when things happen in Mexico, you're probably never going to figure it out. Now, as far as the cartel being involved, that story pretty much died out right after it started. You know, it seems like anything that happens in Mexico, everyone wants to say, oh, the cartel was involved. You know, a motherfucker drops his payday candy bar and someone steps on it. Oh, they were involved. You know, obviously, there are situations where they might have influence or become involved in. But in this situation, I don't know that to be true. I can give you my theory, but again, it's just my perspective and my theory. My theory is this. You know, my theory is there were individuals that were jealous of her success, jealous of her looks, jealous of the way, you know, she was coming up. It's kind of like a situation. I could take me, for instance, and not make this about me, but take me, for instance. You know, when I started social media, I blew up. My first channel blew up. I started to gain attention. People started to watch my videos, and I had a circle around me. People who I considered friends. Really. Fuck the YouTube shit. Forget the social media. None of that. I could care less, right? I was doing my videos to do my videos, and I was gaining success rapidly. And those that were around me, a lot of those dudes that were around me met me because of it. Were all for me in my corner, like, that's right, bro. Because they felt that if I blew up, they had a chance of blowing up. And that was my whole thing. Man, let me go ahead and carry the torch, bro, so I could pass it on back. I could pass the baton back and you can keep on running, right? But not everybody's seen it that way. At some point in time, when they weren't getting past the baton fast enough, they hit me over the head with it. And I found myself in a situation where I could not trust anyone around me anymore. And you know, there were probably some innocent dudes that didn't have nothing to do with that, but they got caught up in the fold. I say that to say this. Here's some knowledge you can't get in college. In the game of social media or in the game period, you know, it's going to be your closest people to you that are going to do you dirty because they know your situation and your circumstances. And everybody wants to be that one. Everybody wants to be the king or the queen. Everybody wants to get a taste or feel how it feels to be acknowledged, accepted, respected, or get that money, right? But they don't want the bullshit and the drama that comes with it. Believe me, they don't, right? When they do get that taste, they throw it back. It's spoiled. You know, unfortunately, in Valeria's case, I believe she was very successful. Her beauty had a lot to do with it. Her attitude, she was an influencer in Mexico. Again, not very big outside of Mexico, but in Mexico, she was pretty well known. Now, a number of things could have happened. It could have been just a jealous person that just didn't like looking at her every day. It happens, right? Especially in social media. They're stalkers, trolls, people that they just, you run rent free in their head, man. They want to watch you masturbate. They're just crazy, right? For you. There's situations where people feel that you're talking about them or you've said something about them in the past and it plays over and over again in their mind and they start to make things up, add things. And it makes them have a bitterness or a hatred towards you. That could have been what happened in Valeria's case. But I don't believe any of these things. I definitely don't believe it was a hoax and it was staged to help her get away from a disgruntled boyfriend. I don't believe that her boyfriend set her up. I don't believe that either. You know, I'd be the first to tell you, man. But I've seen interviews with him and he's not tripping. You know, I believe one of two things. Either she disrespected the wrong people or they took it as disrespect. And that was that. Mexico's a whole different animal, meaning Mexico, life is too short. Life is cheap. You know, obviously you can see by the way they buried her the next day. And that's how it is in Mexico. Within 24 hours, you're buried. You know, they're fast tracking everything. They either fast track it or they don't. That's how it is. Which leads to say, man, the investigation is not properly handled or controlled because a lot of key evidence can get, you know, when the body goes immediately into a coffin, a lot of the evidence goes with it. So will we ever know the true shooter's identity or find out? Probably not. But the other reason why I think might have happened was I think those that were around her, I'm not going to say her two friends, and we're going to get to that right now, the theory, but somebody that was very close to her decided they wanted her out of the way, decided that maybe the jealousy or the envy that they had was too much and she needed to go. Now, a lot of people are saying her two friends were very jealous of her. In fact, she had a friend named Vivian, I believe her name is, that they said even tried to look like Valeria. She wanted to be her. She was trying to dress like her and look like, look, let's calm that bullshit down. First of all, when you have friends, you start to look like each other, right? You start to dress similar, you start to act similar. You know, that's just how it is. You know, you got a lot in common. You might be totally opposites, but you start to talk alike. You know, even the pitch in your voice changes. It just is what it is. It's like a chick, man, that's dating a dude, or a dude that's dating a chick. He might not like these type of movies. After few months he's watching the Titanic, right? Or she's fucking all of a sudden a Cowboys fan when she was a Niners fan. It just is how it is. So all that, her friend was dyeing her hair blonde and trying to look like her and wanted to take over her life. I don't believe that. I believe, you know, it was her friend. They had similar likes and dislikes, and that was that. Now, these text messages, if they are real between the two girls, then it's highly suspicious. You know, keep her there. They're not going to hurt you. So obviously she knew something. She knew that there was the one that was there. There was danger coming. She should have warned her friend and like, hey, we got to go. And the other one, they're saying knew about it too. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. All you got to do is see the text messages. If those aren't AI influenced, if someone didn't make those up just to keep this shit going. I'll tell you this. The most suspicious part of the whole video I seen of Valeria getting killed, right? And it happened during a live stream. So a lot of people seen it. Whoever was on that live stream, imagine being on that live stream and you're just watching. So you're watching Whoa Vicky, right? And all of a sudden something bad happens. You're like, what? What did I just see? You know, it's happened a few times, but this right here was a little different. This right here was in living color, literally. Now imagine watching that happen, and you know me. Say I'm there. I'm in the beauty salon. I'm chilling, man, with the homegirl, or it's a barbershop. Let's make it a barbershop. I ain't trying to chill in no beauty salon, right? It's a barbershop, whatever. And someone comes in and kills the homegirl. First thing I'm doing, I'm trying to block. I'm trying to Heisman on him, right? Because I don't want to get it too. Then I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be a little bit panicked and upset. And first thing I'm going to do is check on my friend and make sure that they're all right. The first thing I'm not going to do is turn off the live stream. In fact, fuck that live stream. I don't even care who sees this shit. Help! Guard! Help! Right? I need help. Woman down. But it was weird that her friend went immediately to the live stream to turn it off, like to conceal what was happening. It was already too late. We already seen it all, right? That right there is very suspicious. Again, I'm not placing blame on no one. I know rata. That ain't my get down. But looking at it from the outside, looking in, there's a lot of suspicious activity there. But again, you can't judge someone their emotions and how they feel. They could be in shock. And when she went for the phone, a lot of people assumed she was turning off the live stream. She could have jumped for the phone to dial 911 or whatever it is in Mexico. You know? So before people start jumping to conclusions, this is something that's blowing up and people want to know what happened. I actually have a family member that went yesterday to go get their nails done, and they did nails in remembrance of Valeria. So she's getting a lot of popularity. She's becoming the new Selena. She's becoming a woman that a lot of people, I've seen people crying online. And it's a sad story. It's tragic. But again, we don't know Valeria. We don't know her history. We don't know what she was doing behind the scenes. You know, there's a lot of stories that I'm not going to speak on and speak on the dead and paint her in a bad light, right? But we truly don't know what this was all about. Could have been a business deal gone wrong. It could have been, you know, sometimes when people get a little popularity, they think their shit don't stink. I've seen it, right? They don't know how to handle success and they treat others wrong. And people don't play, especially in this world we live in. So let me know what you guys think. A lot of theories are out there. Was this a hoax? Chale, it wasn't a hoax. If you look very close at the picture, you see blood right there, sangre. Some actually happened. Like I think it was a smaller caliber weapon. That's why there was a lot of splatter. But do you think her friends did it? Do you think there was a bigger entity that was involved? Again, like I said, I don't know. I don't know. But unfortunately, man, it's an image I'm not going to be able to erase from my head anytime soon. She was a beautiful woman, man. And it's sad that she's gone. Rest in peace to Valeria Marquez, man. It's a sad story. Let me know what you guys think. I got bangers today. Don't trip. You'll get your Super Norteño. The gun. Bang, bang. How the fuck do I end this recording? Like this.